Hello everyone, this is PK Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video, and this will be a review of the first trailer of Eternals. Now I'll say that very loosely and I will explain why in a minute, but the Eternals is essentially the 26th superhero movie in the ever-expanding Marvel Cinematic Universe, and has a massive ensemble cast including the likes of Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, Salma Hayek, Kit Harington and Gemma Chan, and it was directed by Chloe Zhao, who recently came to prominence for directing the Oscar-winning movie Nomadland recently this year. Now, it was originally due for release on November the 6th, 2020, but then it got pushed back to November the 6th, 2021 due to the COVID pandemic. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not overly familiar with the Eternals in terms of the mythology or history, but essentially it's the story of a race of powered beings who were created a million years ago on planet Earth when the powerful Celestials visited that planet. Now, they were generated through experiments and they have various superpowers, and they overall have to unite together to fight against another group of evil superpowered beings who were created, known as the Deviants. Now, the Eternals will be an extension of the cosmic universe established through both the Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy movie, so we expect a lot more of special effects and hopefully much more of a grandiose take in terms of the cosmic elements within the MCU. So that's really what I'm looking forward to when we go forward to the Eternals. Now, it was announced way back in 2019, I believe, when we got a first glimpse of the cast in the D23 presentations, I believe, or it might have been Comic-Con, and Marvel announced that this would be their first movie to showcase the LGBTQ representation. So there's been a very curious, if not muted, hype and speculation about the Eternals, because prior to that Comic-Con presentation, we've really had no footage or trailer in terms of this project. So people were questioning, were there any issues or problems? Why is there such a lack of promotion? Because recently we've seen the likes of Black Widow and of course the Shang-Chi trailers, and along with the various presentations for the Disney Plus Marvel superhero shows as well. So the fact that it comes out in November, we really should be seeing a first trailer by now, or even a couple of months beforehand. So there have been a couple of questions about it. Maybe people have been thinking, will this be Marvel's first failure? Because people within the comic book community weren't really that hyped up about the Eternals as well. So that was really the questions going ahead into this trailer. Now, I mentioned at the start of this video, I say trailer and I say that very loosely because when we had this released footage, it was really part of a sizzle reel for Marvel Phase 4. I always go through and check the videos online before I make videos when we get announcements of trailers, because you can get fake trailers and which aren't really true to the source material. So I was going through and it showed the logo for Eternals and it was 3 minutes. So when I clicked through for the video, and for the most part, as I mentioned before, it was a compilation of the previous Marvel movies that we had through all the various phases. So I wondered what was going on here. So I skipped forward and then we got literally 15 seconds. It must have been, yeah, not any more than 15 seconds of the Eternals footage, what I think what people were most interested in. So there wasn't really a lot to write about here. We saw the clips of Salma Hayek in the, I think it's the cowboy costumes. He's in some sort of ranch. We see a further away shot where we see the characters, not very clear who they are, but there's a handshake here and they're standing in this desert glow type of background. We have another shot where we see the likes of Richard Madden at the front here, and we get a group shot of them together, and then we see the final shot of Angelina Jolie wielding a sword, and yeah, that looks quite cool, I suppose, but nothing really to write home about, nothing really hinting at the major storylines or the plot of the project. And I just question, why did they adopt this strategy here? You know, we already know about all of the movies. So when we go through this sizzle reel here, we already know, as I mentioned before, about Black Widow. We saw already the trailer for Shang-Chi, and you can check out my own thoughts on the channel. I will leave a link within the description. We already know about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Thor: Love and Thunder, Spider-Man: Far From Home. So we already know about these projects, so I didn't see the point of showcasing these titles. For me, it just didn't tell me anything that we didn't know already. So I just didn't see the point in doing this sizzle reel. I would have much preferred an actual full-on 2-minute trailer showcasing the Eternals, because they need to really begin to start promoting this movie, because as I mentioned before, there's been a muted hype and speculation about it. So I would have much preferred that, because you're already telling me what I already know. So to be honest, the most interesting reveal throughout the sizzle reel when we saw the previous titles was the fact that we had the Marvels. Now, anybody doesn't know, this is basically the substitute, what I believe is for the Captain Marvel sequel, right? So the fact that we've gone from it being Captain Marvel 2 changing to the Marvels is very interesting and very telling. Now, just in case anybody doesn't know, we have of course established the Captain Marvel character as Carol Danvers in the Captain Marvel movies, and of course she appeared briefly in Avengers Endgame. Now, if you go through the Phase 4 plans, we know that we're going to get the television series on Disney Plus of Miss Marvel, and that will be the first Asian character-led project within the MCU. And if you also watched WandaVision, there was of course the introduction of Monica Rambeau, who was the black character taking on the mantle of Captain Marvel as well. So she was introduced prominently throughout that series as well. So I was always querying, because you've already got one Captain Marvel, but then you're introducing another two Captain Marvel. So that diminishes already the role of Carol Danvers within the MCU. And now that we've got the shift from Captain Marvel 2 to the Marvels, is this a way of Marvel slowly trying to phase out Carol Danvers and introduce the other characters of Monica Rambeau, and I think it's Kamala as the Miss Marvel for this new ongoing project? So is this a way of them saying, look, despite the fact that Captain Marvel made $1 billion at the box office, it's a character that hasn't transcended within audiences. We all know all of the controversy surrounding Brie Larson and the statement that she made way back concerning A Wrinkle of Time, all the outrage and the negativity around that. And then when Captain Marvel was released, it had a very lukewarm reception in terms of critical, despite the fact it made $1 billion. And then the fact when she appeared in Avengers Endgame, it had a very underwhelming effect. So the character hasn't transcended amongst audiences. So I just feel, is this a way of Marvel kind of giving up on Carol Danvers and giving us other options of characters who can take forward more the Captain Marvel brand, if you like, going forward? Because why would you not have it as a mid-title, right? It should still be Captain Marvel 2, and then it could have the Marvels, even though that wouldn't be a great title overall, but it still establishes that Captain Marvel is at the forefront, right? You look at all the other sequels, you know, you had Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, right? You had Thor the Dark World, Thor Ragnarok, for Love and Thunder. It was still very much the lead character at the front of the title. But now we've gone straight away to the Marvels. Even with Ant-Man, it was still Ant-Man and the Wasp. We're still going to be Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 Quantumania, right? It's still Ant-Man at the front of the title. So the fact that we're removing Captain Marvel, does that say a lot about where they're taking the character? Now, I'm just saying this on pure speculation. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just looking at this at the forefront where, as I said before, the character hasn't transcended. So you'd think for the sequel, they'd be really going full throttle when they wrap up production and start to promote the movie, to really try and boost Carol Danvers and try and convince audiences much more that she can be an integral part of the MCU, right? But by already introducing these alternate Marvel characters, I think it takes away from Carol Danvers within the MCU, and I just think, is this them trying to phase her out? Again, I've got nothing to back this up on. There's been no reports or articles to support that theory. I just really question why it's the Marvels and not Captain Marvel 2. So I'm pretty sure we'll hear a lot more in the upcoming months when we get the actual details of Captain Marvel 2 in terms of its plot and its story and the various villains involved, where they would take that film. But yeah, just overall, really, there wasn't really a lot to say. I think it's underwhelming because I wanted a full-on trailer for Eternals. I don't need to know about the other projects because I've already heard about that, right? We all know they're coming. A lot of the projects we've seen, if you go online, they're halfway through filming or 3/4 of the way through filming. So you're telling us what we already knew. So I was really underwhelmed by this, and I've seen a lot of people getting hyped up and they're praising the MCU, and yeah, I'm a full-on supporter of the MCU, I've stated in previous videos, but I was just really underwhelmed and slightly puzzled by this really more of a phase 4 sizzle reel as opposed to a full-on Eternals trailer. I just didn't really see the point of it. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. Did you think this was a good idea, or did you feel that they really needed to see a full-on footage of Eternals itself rather than a sizzle reel of what's to come within the MCU for phase 4, because we already know about those titles already? So those are my overall thoughts and feelings on the teaser trailer, if you want to call it that, of the Eternals part a sizzle reel for Marvel phase 4. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Were you underwhelmed? Do you think this was a good idea because maybe they're still adding more footage to Eternals? Maybe they're just trying to lessen the overload of content, because of course, as well as the Black Widow and Shang-Chi trailers, we've had of course the WandaVision shows and Falcon and Winter Soldier, and of course we're getting Loki next month. So are they just trying to show a bit of restraint in terms of how much material they promote? I don't subscribe to that theory, but let me know if you believe in that as well. So those are my thoughts and feelings on this abject trailer for Eternals. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please also hit those like and subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content in the long run. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, stay at safe distances, and I will see you very, very soon.